Now I'll talk about the procedure of collection of data in a pragmatic analysis. Similar to every research, we need to collect data in a kind of research which would be conducted through a pragmatic analysis. So everybody who wants to do a research needs certain kind of data. The nature or form of data may vary from research to research in all fields of knowledge, including linguistics and pragmatics. It's the nature of research itself which decides about the kind of data. However, data is essential for every research because it's the data through which you will test your hypothesis. The data will usually be elicited by designing the experiments very carefully. What kind of data you need, how much data you need, or the nature of data, or the environment in which data has to be collected has to be decided by the overall purpose of your study and the nature of experiment you want to conduct in order to test a certain hypothesis. And this should be carefully drafted to make sure that it would help you to measure the same thing which you actually intend to measure. If you remain careless at this stage and you are not able to design your experiment or research methodology carefully, you are in a fear of leading towards a project by the end of which you may not get the desired goal. So at the stage of designing a project, you need to be very careful about deciding about your methodology and the nature of experiments you want to conduct, so that you get the right kind of data which would answer your research questions or would test your hypothesis in the right spirit. And that means the exclusion of all irrelevant variables in a research. You might not need to include those elements which are not directly relevant to your study. Sometimes some variables or some elements about the topic or about the area we intend to investigate may look interesting, fascinating, but realistically speaking, they are not relevant to the topic. You cannot include them in your research for the sake of fashion or for the beautification of the topic. That is not the spirit of research. In a research, you need to include only that kind of data which would help you directly to answer your research questions. It wouldn't be very useful, for example, if a linguist measured 2 years old responses to indirect speech acts and or indirect requests, only to realize afterwards that the results reflected the extent to which the requests themselves were palatable. So here you see, if you at the end of your research or after your findings, you just find out that your finding doesn't give you the answer to the question you initially posed, your entire research is futile, is useless. So it has to be decided that what kind of data you need for a certain kind of research. In this regard, there are certain do's and do nots, which the things you can do and the things you cannot do. For this matter, we need to keep in mind certain things. For example, one of those things is researchers or observers paradox. This may be explained as the effect that observer or collector has on the nature of the data itself. So a good researcher would always try to avoid himself or herself from observer's paradox and bias, so that you get free and reliable data which would actually provide you enough space to test your hypothesis or research questions. Similarly, if you tell your close friends, to have a natural conversation about a certain topic and you would like to record it or tape it, you can get anything except that natural data, because when they would get the clue that they are being recorded and they are your friends, they would not speak naturally. Strangers still might speak naturally in such situations, but your friends, since they know you, they are acquainted with you, they won't speak naturally when they have the fear or they have the feeling that they are being recorded. However, there is an ethical issue also involved which needs to be kept in mind by a researcher, that he should not use data for any other purpose besides those ones which were decided about the research and were shared with the participants also. You need to share your objectives or purpose of your study with the participants in your study frankly, and should comply with them. You shouldn't use data for the purpose which you have not already mentioned to your participants. Similarly, you should have informed consent of your participant before you actually use the data for research purpose. And if you want to use that for any other purpose, though it may be academic one, you need to get informed consent from your participants. There are certain other important points which needs to be kept in mind. For example, a good researcher need to do a pilot study of his research. Pilot study is a small study before the actual study, where you collect data on a miniature scale, on a small scale, and then you try to get some results out of it, so that you can have an idea that you are on the right track. It's a kind of test trial of a software. When you actually publish a software or market a software, before that you give that software to certain marketers or certain users for its test trial. So pilot study is a kind of test trial of a full-fledged research project. And this is very useful that because it would help you to know the nature of your data in advance, and would also help you know some technical aspects about the audibility and transcribability of the data. It would also help you to have a fair clue about whether the data would be able to serve the purpose for which you have collected it or not. Also give some thought to whether you need to use the data or just a part of it. The pilot study would also help you that do you need to reduce the various arenas of your data you have collected, or you need to carry on the way you have collected it. So would you be able to use the entire data or all aspects of data, or only some part of data, or some or data in some smaller shape? So a pilot study can give you good clues about all these areas. A very important thing here is to be understood, and that is that do not be ambitious in your research, especially when you are collecting data. Some new researchers might be tempted by the idea that they need to collect as much data as possible so that they produce some wonderful, fabulous results. This is entirely a misconception. You don't have a very lengthy data which you will not be able to handle in order to produce some fruitful results. A data haul, and it may be lengthy to the extent of your desire, but if you cannot reduce that to some fruitful findings, it is of no use. So it might be concluded here that you need to include only or collect only that much data which you think you can handle in the given time of a research. Every research has to be conducted within a certain period, and during that period you need to collect data, you need to derive findings out of it. But if you spend a lot of time on collecting data and then you are unable to handle it, unable to transcribe it, or unable to put that into a certain kind of software in order to bring out results, you will be in a mess. So in order to stay safe and clear, you need to collect as much data as is actually needed by your research, and you think you can handle easily within the given time. Do not become over ambitious at this stage, and try to manage things in a manageable way. If you collect data featuring more than two or three speakers, especially when you are recording a certain real life or natural conversation between two or three speakers, it would be very difficult later on to decide about who was the speaker of a certain statement. For example, there are more than two or three people speaking in a hall and you're recording it. Later on, when you listen to that recording, it is quite likely that you would miss certain points in terms that you will not be able to identify and that who is the speaker here. And as time passes from the time of recording, the confusion or this kind of memory test would increase. One possibility in this regard can be that you could video record so that you could see faces or or human beings in action speaking about something so that you can identify. In this way, you will be able to identify them that who is speaking what. But video recording has serious ethical repercussions. People would not like to show their faces, their clear identity in most of the situations. So it may become problematic for you to collect data with video recording in many contexts. Other option can be that when you are audio recording, you also keep on taking notes and you just write first few words of every utterance and also identify which speaker is saying it. And in this way, whenever there is a confusion in during listening to the recording and transcribing them, you might go back to your notes and find that who said this. Overall, we can say that collection of data for a pragmatic analysis can be a challenging and a tricky task. Therefore, any researcher venturing into pragmatic analysis field should decide about the nature and kind of data in advance, and it should be a very mature and well thought out decision, because in such situations in which we conduct pragmatic analysis, sometimes we may not find the desired result at the end when we have careless choices for the selection of data. So it should be taken very seriously.